Hello, gamer Nestians. It's Garrett, one of the two gamer boys that runs this beloved channel. And I just wanted to make like a P-2 guide because I think it's really hard. This is a guide for people who already have like a reasonable grasp of Ultrakill tech but are still struggling to deal with this level. I've speaking from my own experience, I P ranked every level in the game except this one, and I was stuck like that for like months. So this is for other people like that who feel like they're okay at the game but just can't seem to make this one level work. So let's get started. This is a capture I just did like 10 minutes ago of P ranking P2. I'm just going to kind of go through each fight and talk about my thought process. So let's begin. Okay, so for this section, you want to be really careful. I'm just kidding. Let me see if I had a little bit. All right, so let's talk about this area, right? Did I already do it? Here we go. Okay, so you'll see me fire like a shotgun and a rocket. That's just to light up the room so I can see where the center of it is. Once I know where that is, I'm gonna plop down a nail trap, or a saw trap, sorry. Then out to the right and left, I'm going to put two more saw magnets so that it kind of creates a straight line where the servs will spawn. Go on to the left, fire off just a blue rail cannon. And that does a considerable amount of damage to all of the servs. It's a great way to start the fight. There's probably better ways, but again, this is like for people like me who are okay at the game but not amazing. So after that, I back off. You'll see this combo a lot. That's projectile boost shotgun into rocket launcher. That's kind of my go-to. And that's the blue rocket launcher, not the serious cannon. Is it serious cannon? I always call it the serious cannon, SRS cannon. I do that because I like to be able to rocket fly whenever I want. And if you have the SRS cannon as your default, then you have to hit the mod swap key, and it's a pain. But yeah, Serbs take extra damage from rockets, so this is just a really good combo to whittle down their health quickly, and the splash also hits some of their little buddies. So yeah, I kind of circle around the room to try to keep the Serbs reasonably in the middle so they're not right in front of me or, God forbid, behind me. As you can see, the ferryman has spawned. Let's see how I deal with that. I prioritize the Serbs first. I think the coin is really good for the ferryman because it's kind of hard to keep track of where he is in this specific room, I find. In addition to that, the virtues will still be raining hellfire upon you, and it's just kind of nice to not have to worry about aiming and keeping track of the ferryman. You'll see I just kind of circle around the room and use coins. I find that to be optimal. When I do feel safe, I'll like actually shoot at him. This is a really important thing. Once your saws have regenerated, put down another saw trap, and that'll do a ton of damage. In this case, I think he actually dies, yeah, very quickly, because around this time your rail cannon will have recharged, and you can do a coin shot. I find that more consistent than trying to hit him. These two virtues are pretty much free health packs, so yeah. Alright, so to start this fight, I try to do kind of equal damage to the swords machine and the two sentries that spawn. So I put one magnet around the middle, around this area where the mind flayer kind of is in the shot. Then I put one a little over on this place on that raised platform, then another one on the other raised platform. Usually that just starts off with some nice even damage to all three of the major enemies in this area. Okay, let's talk about the Mind Flayer now. The Mind Flayer seems like a huge threat, and it kind of is, but the trick to dealing with these two arenas with the Mind Flayers is that projectile that little pack of projectiles. If you're like me and you don't know how to insta kill a mind flayer, oh, I guess you can at this point anyway. But whenever it makes a very obvious sound cue, and whenever you hear that, turn to face the mind flayer no matter what's happening and parry the first shot and instantly dash. That is the trick to these fights, because it's an instant heal, gets your stamina back, just a huge boost. It's a great way to keep your healing topped up, and it negates one of the mind flayer's scarier attacks. Beyond that, just keep moving. I like to prioritize the sentries first in this fight, so I think you're about to see me. Yeah, I kind of like shot at the swords machine a little bit just because of opportunism, and then I started prioritizing the sentry again. Oh, you can also see the mind flayer beam. Sometimes the mind flayers kind of just take out the enemies here. So taking advantage of friendly fire can be kind of nice. Sometimes I position myself behind the sentry and then let the projectiles kill it. There's a lot of strategies for dealing with this, but try to parry that projectile as much as you can. Make sure you move quickly through that area so you don't get caught by the mind flayer. This is a pretty tough room. We're going to have a Serb here and the two street cleaners. I don't have much of a strategy here beyond just putting down a magnet and saw blades and praying. You kind of have to play it by ear. Don't be afraid to use the rail cannon here. Just whatever it takes. This is a very scary room, and you don't want to die here. There I kind of screwed up. I should have waited a little longer to put down the magnet, so then it would have killed the sentries, but it is what it is. Another note is that it's really hard to do that parry in this room. It's possible, but difficult, so don't put so much pressure on yourself here. In terms of healing, mostly focus on shotgunning the Serb. That's, in my opinion, the most reliable way to heal in this room. This room sucks. I prioritize the sentry, and then I just kind of deal with the swords machines as they come. There's not really a super consistent way to deal with this. Just keep parrying the mind flayer projectiles. If you can, parry it into the swords machines. That's really useful. Aside from that, you kind of have to play this one by ear. Be wary of the sentry kick. That's a good tactic, parrying the projectiles into the swords machines. Okay, it wasn't necessary this time, but sometimes I get behind the sentry and let the mind flayer projectiles take it out. More of that shotgun to projectile boost to rocket launcher combo. I just think it's really useful for long range combat. This is also where the nerves tend to set in for me. If I'm doing well in this fight, I kind of start to freak out. I honestly think half of the battle of P-2 is not getting nervous if you're doing a good job. Another piece of advice is, like, if you're practicing this, just try to get through the whole level. Don't just redo the first two arenas over and over again, because if you do well in the first two arenas, you're more likely to freak out if you haven't practiced the rest. Okay, this arena, this part is probably the thing that's killed me more than anything. My advice is to kill the virtues as fast as humanly possible. Ideally, you would whiplash up to one of them and use the rail cannon to take them both out in a single shot. I don't find that particularly consistent, though. Let me see what I did here. Okay, it looks like I think I parry with the shotgun parried, and then shotgun swap to kill one, then hit the other with the rail cannon. Honestly, just whatever gets rid of them fastest, do your best. This part's really difficult. You have to be really careful here. This is where I die the most. Parry projectiles whenever you can. Obviously, there's not anything to prioritize other than these two malicious faces. If you see one preparing a laser, it's a good idea to just hunt down that one because he can't shoot you for a second. And that's a safe time to get a little bit of healing in with the shotgun. I know there's hard damage. Don't be afraid of using the whiplash here. In my opinion, it's more important to get these guys dead than it is to not take hard damage. Right there, I was at like 10 health or something, and then I got a parry and I lived. It will save you, I swear. This is just a standard double Mind Flayer fight. If you do a lot of cyber grind, you're going to be used to this. Don't be afraid of rail cannon, but try to hit the coin, because sometimes they teleport out of the way at the last second. Beyond that, another useful strategy that I think I might have done once in this fight, I usually do it, but I don't think I did it particularly effectively this time, is put a magnet on one of the whiplashes, or sorry, on one of the Mind Flayers, fire your rocket a couple times with freeze frame on so that you get red explosions, and that usually like just takes one of them out. Stay moving so they don't hit you from behind. Keep the parries up. Here I was trying to do that tech I was just talking about with the rocket launcher, but I failed spectacularly. But you can screw up as much as you want as long as you land the parries. That's the most important thing. But yeah, hit him with the rail coin, we're fine. Grab the Skull of Truth. Moved on. This went shockingly poorly this time. You're going to see me almost die several times, but honestly, I find double Sisyphean Insurrectionist to be one of the easiest parts of this level. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Just keep doing that projectile boost to rocket launcher combo. Keep your distance and going with some shotguns for healing. Just keep track of that ground attack, and as long as you keep moving, you probably won't get hit by the Maurice. It's pretty simple. You're just going to see me screw up a lot because I get nervous. Setting down a saw trap is really useful here. Oh, screwdriver can help a lot. It's nice to have a screwdriver in this fight. Good for emergencies. That was kind of terrifying when he hit that little ridge over there, and the shockwave blast would have killed me if I'd been in the air at the time. Here's where I kind of get nervous because I'm low health, but these two aren't a threat. You're fine. Just don't freak out and you'll find your way through it. Once one of them is dead, it's pretty easy to not die. There you go. Yeah. That was kind of stupid because I whittled down both of their health kind of equally. You should try to prioritize one and then kill the other. I find that to be easier. This room sucks. The big thing is, if you don't have your rail cannon going into this, just wait. Don't go until you have rail cannon, because if you don't take out these two virtues like you're about to see me do, you're gonna have a miserable time. So just whiplash to the one on the left, line up the shot, and take them both out. If you don't do that, it's possible to not die, but don't take the chance. Just keep your rail cannon, and you're gonna have to improvise if you screw that up. After this, I prioritize the sentry. You know, the malicious projectiles are just going to hit the sentry, and that helps me out damage it. Then you can... It's just a double Maurice fight. Nothing particularly hard here. Just, you know, the hardest part about these arenas is not hitting the environmental hazards, I find. Alright, so for this fight, you're going to want to just whiplash to the Maurice that spawns here. And then when it hits the ground, it'll send out a shockwave that kills both of the sentries. So don't even worry about the sentries. After all that's done, it's just a double Serb fight. It can be a little tricky, but it's not that bad. As you can see, they both hit the ceiling and die. It's great. I always screwdriver one of these Serbs just for a little insurance. But yeah, aside from that, it's just a double Serb fight. Here you're going to see me hit the ground a lot, because, again, I'm getting nervous. Practice this arena a lot and make sure that you're comfortable moving in it. I usually am, but, again, I'm kind of freaking out here. This is only the second time I've P-ranked P2. Again, this is a guide for people who, like, want to get it every once in a while and aren't super good at the game. or aren't like amazing at the game. So here, I always put down a saw trap, and I kind of play this by ear. As long as you kind of stay in the air, the swords machines and the ferrymen can't really do anything to you. So you'll kind of just see me hopping backwards and, you know, dealing as much damage as I can. There's not a whole lot to this section. You'll probably be fine. I try to kill them before the stalker covers in the sand, but it doesn't always happen. Yeah. Don't be afraid to whiplash things if you're low health, as always. Just stay moving. Coins are useful. I don't even know how everything died there, but it did. Alright, this room, this section of the fight... Sorry, I'm trying to pause. This also sucks. I used to die a lot here. The strategy is basically going to be whiplashing to a sentry, doing a little damage to it, and then looking at the other sentries in the room and seeing who's targeting you, and just shooting the antennas with the marksman. So you're just kind of going to go in a circle around the room and repeatedly do that. So I kind of like mess this guy up. Then I go to the left here. You know, I take him out one by one until there's not really anybody targeting me at the moment. I just keep repeating that. It takes a little bit of practice, but it's learnable for sure. Don't be afraid to use the rail cannon. It's at your disposal. Once there's only one left, it's very easy. Alright, so here you're going to notice that the idol opens up. I think I end up going for it in a couple seconds here. But first I want to deal with the virtues, because I hate the virtues. They're like top priority in every fight for me. Oh, another thing. If you don't know how to rocket ride, try to learn that. That's a really useful tech. What I do is I look slightly down, like a little bit below the horizon, I guess. And then I right click, dash, left click. That I find to be really consistent, and you do it kind of quick. It takes a bit of practice to get the motion of it down and the rhythm of it, but it's definitely learnable, and it will help you drastically in this arena because the ceiling's so high you can just camp. But yeah, I just kind of deal with these virtues. I don't have any particularly amazing strategy for them. I think around here I decided to go for the idol so I don't have to deal with the hideous mass anymore. Saw traps are always useful. And here I go, to the sky, where I will remain until everything is dead. Because nothing can really hit you up here, so if you just hide, like, you're pretty much fine. It doesn't matter that you can't heal. Servs are really bad at hitting you in the air, so you can just camp. You can probably achieve a similar effect if you don't want to learn to rocket ride by doing a slam storage off the wall and then going into the air and wall jumping until you have to come back down. That would probably work, but it's not as smooth and you're more likely to get hit. You really want to learn to rocket ride. Yeah, once it's down to one serve, it's pretty easy. And that's the end of all of the actual combat encounters. Now we're going to talk about Sisyphus. And Sisyphus is just the worst. Sisyphus... If you don't know how to fight Sisyphus, you're going to die a lot. Part of it is just like learning the attack patterns, but I have a couple of specific pieces of advice for dealing with specific attacks. I found Destroy to be like the most annoying Sisyphus attack. But before we get to that, obviously the Panopticon. So I throw a magnet saw trap up. And this is really just about using everything you can to do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you don't have to spend as much time getting hammered by all the attacks that the Panopticon has. There's these 4 kind of like whiplashable eyeball things around the arena. I think there's 4. And you're going to see me just whiplash between all of them to avoid all the attacks. It's not so bad. Just, you know, keep whiplashing, you'll be fine. I think I get hit a little bit here because it took me too long to actually whiplash to something. But, yeah, it's pretty quick. And then here you want to just like bounce so you can get the health when the Panopticon dies. Like that. Alright, now I set up a little magnet trap, and then I go for the biggest, fattest rail coin I can possibly get. In case you don't know that tech, throw a coin, shoot the coin, and then just spam throwing coins. And look at all that damage. That's insane right off the bat. Okay, whenever you don't see Sisyphus, he's probably about to slam on you. That's just a general piece of advice. The way to deal with that is to move away from him, jump over, slam back down. If you have a dash, great. If not, whatever. I try to stay kind of close to Sisyphus so I can react to things. It's scary to be far away from him because a lot of his attacks kind of... It's hard to explain why. I just find that works. Alright, you can't escape. This can be kind of tricky. It feels very inconsistent. What I do is I try to stay facing him and I dash to the side. So here I'm facing him. Or I don't dash, I slide to the side. That's really important. If you dash at everything, you're gonna run out of stamina. So here, I slid backwards and that killed me. I think I screwed up here a little bit too. Went for the parry. The parry's on the 4th hit. And then jump so you don't get hit by the shockwave. Oh, also by this point, your style is already maxed out if you've been playing effectively. So don't worry about style with Sisyphus. You're gonna be fine. That's another thing. 2 out of 3 times, if Sisyphus teleports directly in front of you, it's a parryable attack. That's because he has one where he kind of does like, I think it's like a roundhouse kick, and then the Be Gone attack where he creates a shockwave vertical in front of him. And both of those are parryable. The other option is if he does this other attack, and that's usually followed by one of those other 2. So once you kind of learn that, you can learn to react quick enough. If when it is Be Gone, make sure you parry and then dash to the side. That's one of those things where you have to dash, in my experience. You could probably slide, but I don't like to risk it. Another situation where he disappeared and then slammed down. He always does that. Destroy sucks. Destroy is the worst. The way you're going to want to deal with that is, first of all, be close to him. The reason I don't get him here is because I'm not close to him, but he's going to dash up to you. And then he's going to launch the projectile. So the best thing you can do is when he's about to destroy, dash to the side, run up to him and punch him. That usually works. There might be a better example of me doing that in the remaining footage, but this is okay. There's going to be 2 parry windows on destroy. It's generally easier if you just dash when he says it and then punch him. There's a degree of anticipation that you have to have with Sisyphus. You kind of have to get in his head and know what he's going to do before he does it. There's sort of like a decision tree. Like, if he does one attack, you know he's not going to do that one, so then he can prepare for, like, if he teleports in front of you, he's going to do one of these attacks, or if he, disappears, then he's going to slam on you, and so forth. Destroy is kind of the biggest wrench in that, because he kind of goes away from you and then charges you. So when he goes away from you, he starts saying destroy, dash to the side as he attacks, because that's one hitbox, dash back in and punch him for the second one, and then run away before he explodes you. You also kind of want to get the timing of the explosion part of destroy, so then it's not like a huge explosion, so you can just escape it, but I find it's more consistent if you learn the timing and use the dash iframes. Another example where he just teleports in front of me and I could have parried, but, sometimes you're just not ready for it. Really good example of how to deal with you can't escape. Disappears, so I know he's going to slam on me. There I could have punched him. Here I can punch him. Let's see if I do. Nope, I was too nervous. This will hurt is the best, and it's another reason why you need to stay on the ground. If you're like high up in the air and he does that, there's almost no way to get the parry. It's very difficult. If you're on the ground, you have all day to get ready for it. So, moving right along. There I could have, see, like, He just did the attack that you can't parry followed by the one you can. That's a very common thing. He does that a lot. So again, I'm nervous here, but at my best I usually hit him when he does be gone. Really good example of destroy. Just dash out of the way, because that's the other thing. As you fight him, this is why it's really important to face him all the time, because you will see he takes poses before he attacks you. With Minos, or Minos, however you pronounce his name, he will announce the attack and then do it. Sisyphus prepares for the attack and then does it. So you have to keep your eyes on him. You kind of learn his poses for these more difficult to dodge attacks, especially destroy. Destroy and the 4-hit combo, I can't remember the name right now. Those are the two where he does a very obvious pose, and that's how you're supposed to prepare for them. I didn't understand that at first, and it took me forever to learn that. But yeah, dash out of the way for destroy, run up and punch him. Then dash out of the way for the explosion. Another general note about Sisyphus, I didn't do this in this fight, but I should have. Try to use the screwdriver on him instead of the rail cannon, because it just gives you more margin for error, and you're going to be nervous at this point, so it's best if you kind of cushion yourself. It's okay if you get hit like once in that combo, but you want to just like stay facing him, slide like only hitting A or D, just at a perfect like 90-degree angle from where he's facing, and you'll escape all his attacks. There, I could have parried. And again, you can see he's moving above me, so I have to dodge to away from him, jump, dodge back, or dash back in, and then slam down. There, I kind of screwed up. That was a bad way of dealing with destroy, but it is what it is. I got the parry on Be Gone, so I got to heal. Really dumb close range rocket there. Another good example of dealing with destroy. Be Gone could have probably dealt with that. Killed him with a coin. That's the end of the fight. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys were able to learn something from this, and we'll go ahead and watch the ending here. Then I zip over to the exit of the level. And there you go, P rank. I find that time, honestly, isn't a huge concern. If you can get through all the fights, you're probably going to get through them fast enough that... Like, I find that dying is the biggest threat here. Style and time tend to take care of themselves if you're not dying. So, yeah, that's it. Good luck. If you have any advice for anybody else, leave it in the comments. Take it easy.